Hi guys, it's me, Ren, and basically it's me talking about MBTI and basically today ISTJ. And if you watch my previous video about ISFJ, I also mentioned about a lot of like ISTJ and talking about the other guardians. And the last video is talking about ISTP. So ISTP and ISTJ, a lot of time people can't really like differentiate like them. Because like usually it is confusing for people to differentiate like introverted peoples like for those who are much more introverted, for them to be P or J. Yeah, since it's hidden usually, and they are using their second function to do the judgment onto like are they like firstly extroverted as a perceiving function, or they are much more into the judgment function. So a lot of time people will be confused onto it. Today I will do a little bit like a comparison to like ISTP and ISTJ as well, which I didn't did for the ISFJ and ISFP, but I think it would be easy for the ESP. Yeah, but whatever. Let's try to talk about the STP and STJ. So let's go with the ISTJs first. So basically, ISTJ are those people who are like basically is the most majority about in our world, and always like we need those kind of people for them to keep on like make the world keep on rotating. So it's much more like making the whole earth, the whole society to keep on rolling and rolling. So basically, we'll try to look at this. Yeah, so basically, ISTJ is starting from SI, introverted sensing. So introverted sensing itself is like always trying to talk about like their experience. So they talk about the experience, they talk about the history, they want to know like, okay, why this happened and why I feel this, why I feel that. So a lot of time, it's not, okay, the why is come much more later, but it firstly is like coming to me. So my sensing, what I experience right now, and it's not only right now and also at the same time their past. So you can imagine like they're very most of their power they are just putting onto their memory. Yeah. So everything about their memory they are keeping inside one part of their brain, and the brain is like working so good, and they can just keep on recall all this kind of like feelings whenever like it is like necessary. Yeah, they are really good at that. But at the same time, because of it, so usually like when they grow much more older, you'll find out they usually have a common issue is that they are becoming stubborn as well. So ISFJ and ISTJ, both of them are kind of similar in terms of this, and especially when you're trying to look at our church structure itself. Sorry to say, but a lot of time, whenever we come to like a magic blessing, and a lot of time we have the ISTJ parents or the ISFJ parents, and they'll just come out like the ESTJ as well as the ESFJ parents will do the same thing, which is they will just come out and say that, well, in the past we didn't do in this way, and to be honest, like this kind of like a reaction itself that pissed me off a little bit, because if we are really talking about like a standards that we so called the original standards, and instead of like the grace that after how much we are being open and trying to embrace different kind of like people all around the world, and as well as the blessed family situations. Basically, we are, like if we don't try to focus on it, basically we are talking bullshits. Just for you to know. Yeah. So in this kind of sense, so yeah, actually we are supposed to be a little bit more trying to be inclusive as well. But at the same time, like for you to be inclusive, for you to trying to understand so-called standards itself, a lot of time we need to remember like we can't really go back to the original standards. Why? Because like we have different conditions right there. Like let's say like matching blessing, like if we go to the original standards itself, which means like you do like a 7 years of like 7 years plus 7 years of like a public course with 7 years of witnessing and 7 years of fundraising itself. Yeah, basically you spend 14 years in the church, and true father will still be there, and true father will be the one who trying to guide all the process itself, and that's the 7 years plus 7 years, which is too ridiculous somehow in a sense. If we are trying to say that we are trying to expand God's lineage throughout the world, it is it's taking too much time, and mostly people like while working the 7 years, basically they already give up. So that's why it was being reduced into like a 3.5, 3.5. But actually, like at the same time, like the 7 years itself, and after that, like when True Father giving them the matching blessing itself, at the very early days, actually True Father asked them to write the name by themselves, and because everybody is like writing the same name, basically, like the attractive girl is basically those few, and the attractive guy is also those few. So people are trying to, yeah, wanting the best for themselves, yeah, for sure. And that's when True Father, like the matching is coming into place and trying to say that, okay, yeah, this we can't just let everyone just marry the same girl. Every guy marry, oh no, every guy marries a same girl, and every girl married to a same guy. That's like a nonsense, and we can't do that. So that's why True Father say that, yeah, we need to do arrangement, something like this. But at the same time, also because of like a True Father's talent, since he was young, so that's why, yeah, True Father was doing it. Yeah. So it come in this way somehow, in a sense, just for you to know. Yeah. But actually, like always, True Father already say that like for parents matching is needed, and at the same time, if you have a feeling, you're best to do the approach as well. So there's something like True Father already mentioned, but we didn't focus onto it, or we don't even try to emphasize onto it, and we just keep on looking at like, okay, yeah, like children, they are supposed to be just obey to the parents, but actually True Father also say something like a precondition onto it, saying that like the children and parents, they are supposed to be united in heart. So if your children can't unite with you, basically you already lose the first condition onto it. So yeah, why you bother to go to the magic blessing, in a sense? Yeah, right. So yeah, I mean, like in this kind of sense, so a lot of time we don't really study onto it. We just try to recall the memory or like the history or like the norm in the past. So that's what SI people usually would do, especially when ISTJ is a SI hero. Yeah, they usually go on to it very strong. And this the hero function. Then we go to the parents function. So somebody call it like a support function, but actually it's just a parents function, because all of the function right here, they are useful. Just that some of them they don't have sufficient energy, but yeah, just that usually your second function, where you're coming from, yeah, is like an extroverted thinking. So you are trying to do judgment, like, okay, is it something that I socially acceptable? Is it something that, uh, like in terms of intellectually, is it everybody will just agree that we will just use the same standards, like so-called the logos of like a majority? Yeah, right. Or we say like the logos of like who are being much more smarter. Usually in our mind, it will be someone who is much more able to speak as a leader. Yeah. So for ISTJ, they usually will stick onto it. So in the classroom, who is the leader? The teacher. So in the church, who is the leader? The church leader. And basically, like in our church, like whenever like the leaders comparison, yeah, usually they will just try to refer to the much more higher leader, and instead of like trying to fact check, what did they speak compared with true parents' word, usually they only fact check like their position and say that, oh yeah, because they are much more closer to true parents, but actually it's not really that sense, to be honest, especially after true father ascended. Yeah, being blocked by Yun Yong Ho and as well as Moon McDavid. That situation happened, to be honest. Yeah, so let's try to understand it. And next, we'll go to the function of the child function. The child function right here is the FI. So basically, the FI, introverted feeling itself, as the child function is that you are trying to see something truthful. But at the same time, it's much more like you like to be true, but not necessarily all the time you need to be true. So a lot of time when you try to see, yeah, ISTJ will just suddenly trying to lie, and try when they're trying to lie, they somehow like, because they have a purpose onto it, they will be like, yeah, because I don't want to cause a much more bigger trouble, so that's why I lie, in that kind of sense, and they are trying to take away their own FI, like the morality inside here. Yeah, so their morality, sometimes they will just abandoning it. So somehow like, just for another example, so for the I sorry, I'm like crossing crossing different MBTIs, but like for the INTJ, so basically if you know INTJ, their child function will be also FI. So sometimes like for them when they really want to just achieve some goals, and they will just suddenly like give up their own reputation, and they will just start to break the social norms. But for the ISTJ, their FI is much more like, okay, I if in the history or like in the past when I heard about like this kind of like a similar situation and people are throwing away their reputation and they will be respected, I will do the same thing. So it is much more like a calculation in their mind, like because they calculate first and then they come to the conclusion that do I need the child or not. But because of it, a lot of time actually ISTJ is not trying to make themselves happy, but instead they are trying to just analyze is it true or false. So usually they are much more patient to wait on until like the ideal situation appear. They will wait, but before it just really appear, they are usually enduring. So usually when you hear about like the ISTJ, a lot of time you just heard them saying that yeah, I'm suffering, I have a lot of like a suffer in it. But actually, yeah, you know what, ISTJ, you are somehow like a blessed, just like the ESTJ as well, like in the society, just that you are they're kind of too much onto the privilege and making you just thinking that yeah, I'm not supposed to be that happy, so I would just say that I'm not really happy. But somehow when you say that you're not really being happy, you are kind of lying, to be honest. So yeah, but I'm not blaming you in this sense. Yeah. Let's go to the next one. Is the extroverted intuition. So extroverted intuitions, just try to think about it. So extroverted intuition in the fear function, so is that they are really relying onto someone they need. So they need to know other people's pattern. They want to know other people's pattern as well, and they are really want to sticking onto it. So if they missing someone they are really beloved onto, or like they are really get used to, they will be panic. And this kind of panic itself is not a little bit; it's like a huge one. So the best way, or like we say, the worst way for you to make ISTJ to be struggle, suddenly leave them, or you just give no reaction to them, or like a totally different reaction that they never experienced before in a bad way. And suddenly the earth will be crumble and they will be so stressed. Yeah, same apply to ISFJ. So yeah, why I'm talking about how to make them suffer, because for you will just know that okay, this will make them suffer and you don't do it. But if you want to utilize it and you try to just say that yeah, because I want to manipulate other people, good luck. Good luck for your spiritual and good luck for your soul, and I hope that God won't judge you. Yeah, true. Okay, next, let's go on to it. So we go to the shadow functions. So the first one is the nemesis. The nemesis is the extroverted sensing. So somehow in a sense, like for ISTJ, when they come onto like a nemesis itself, they don't like to do it. They don't like to work onto it. They don't like to perform it, because performing it, it's not that they're receiving the sensing, but they perform it. They perform it out. Yeah, and when it is coming to like a performing out, because it's always like they're trying to threatening their FI, which means they're introverted feeling their self value. So that's why they are usually trying to avoiding it. But at the same time, actually they will just do, yeah, most of the time, especially when they feel that it is comfortable, they will just do. But if not comfortable, so basically they are exploring. So exploring, they will come to their shadow function. So yeah. And basically, the next one is a TI as a critic, introverted thinking. Introverted thinking as a critic itself. Basically, what it means? It means that you are trying to always prove is this true or false. So coming back to it, you try to link all together. So the SI as the hero and trying to keep on thinking that okay, in the past we have this and that, and somehow extroverted thinking, somebody trying to giving you a new content and saying that you might just need to try to use this system. In their introverted thinking, according to their logic, according to my own thinking, is it true or false? Like so, what is the reference? The reference coming from your memory, and the memory just will say that yes or no. But this like an introverted thinking, so it doesn't mean that necessarily it to be true. It will just be your truth. Yeah, it's not the general truth, but just that your truth is all. So your truth is all sometimes like annoying and like a long thing. So you don't want to explain it. So that's why you just make it into a very simple critic, yes or no, true or false. If this happened, yes. If this didn't happen, no. Then you just do this as a reference and you just put it back to the T, so it will just make it into a structure. But because of it, yeah, I already said because of the experiences of the ISTJ don't have sufficient experience when they come to this like a TI critic, they will be really limited, and because they're so limited, so they were just making them much more struggle onto it. Like in the end, to admit something is right, something is wrong for them, it will be very difficult. Yeah. So next we go to the ignorant function. Ignorant function is means that you have so little energy, so sometimes it just appear a little bit, but you don't even get used to that kind of like energy, and you already disappear. So like you don't have sufficient energy onto it. So then when you're trying to like proactively trying to engage onto it, you don't. Shadow function of ignorant for the ISTJ is the FE, extroverted feeling. So what does it mean? When somebody cry, they didn't feel anything. Cry? Just cry. Yeah, I don't care. This is what the thing I need to do right now. So they will just go according to their thinking, go according to their logic, go according to everybody's thinking instead of other people's feeling. So other people's feeling basically for them is the most useless thing and the most bullshit thing they will just ever see in the earth. So basically that's for the ISTJ. And going to the demo function. The demo function itself will just be the introverted intuition. So basically, introverted intuition, basically, what does it mean? It means I choose something. But because it's right here, so I already said it's immature. So usually when ISTJ, they just keep on receiving things and they are not trying to perform it well. They will just try to predict the future. Okay, what I might just receive like according to my memory and everything like this. But like somehow, in a sense, when they're really like being pushed onto the very edge of their life, and they will just have to choose, and they will just choose to make you all like a feeling bad. Yeah, I will just make sure I choose, and I will be determined to make everybody feel bad. Yeah, that's the ISTJ in this sense. So okay, let's try to go to the fourth state of mind. So the ego ISTJ, so I already explained. So according to my everything according to my memory, according to whatever I know, and I just make it into a structure. I try to make it into a system that I can just follow, and because I can just follow through it, so I don't need to change a lot of things in my life. And next is the ENFP. So basically, it's like a expanding of your self value. So you just try to understand, okay, what am I much more capable to doing it, and what am I not. And with ISTJ reaching their happy state itself, they will try to expand this kind of morality, and they will be much more generous. They know how to smile. They know how to try to make everybody much more happy in a sense. But in this kind of like a happy, it's not emotional happy, but it's like everything can be work, and that's the most basic thing onto it. And next we go to the shadow function. The first thing is the unconscious state. So unconscious states right here is the ESTP. So when they are losing their value, then they are trying to search for their values of, or like trying to prove that they are right or wrong. They will try to use performance, or like they will just try to make it out and try to just prove onto something with their actions. If everything of their actions still shows nothing, and they really try, they still being denied by everybody, like especially about their logic, they will just go on to rage. And because they're basically their thinking already being attacked so much, so their memory is like very bad onto those people, so they will just choose to make those people to be bad, like to be feeling very bad all the time. Yeah, basically that's a foresight of mind for the ISTJ in a very quick and easy sense. So let's try to understand like the way of the grouping. So grouping itself, ISTJ, like the ISJ itself, basically ISJ, should I say in this way? Okay, the SJ type of people, they are usually the guardians. And what does it mean? They are much more onto concrete, they are affiliative, at the same time they are systematic. So systematic onto two type of different things. One is like a TJ type of people, they will just much more systematic onto logical side, onto the intellectual side. So whatever things that about like a law, everything, yeah, they are good with it. And for the uh, SFJ. So usually they are much more systematic with the feeling. So they are much more like, okay, right now I want to feel happy. Right now I want to feel, uh, I want to feel sad because of this thing happened, and that's what my parents had told me. This is what I experienced in the past, and this is good. This is bad. This is basically the what the SJ is trying to do. So both of them are guardians, but a little bit different like a scenario and uh yeah way of like guarding things, but they are trying to run whatever they receive in the past. So yeah, in this kind of sense, yeah. So it is the guardians and the ISTJ as well. And next is the communication type. They are the finisher. And basically, when we just start to say that they are the finisher itself, they are direct, responding, at the same time, movement. And why ISTJ will be put into a finisher as well basically is that they just receive everything. I already say that they receive everything, they will just follow everything that whatever the previous people just asked them to do, and with all the things inside here, and they were just trying to expand it, but they don't expand, but they're not expand like an artist. They are just trying to guarding whatever like they received in the past, and because they got it so well, so that's why we're calling them the finisher. So they just finish everything in the end. Yeah, especially when their T function is working so well. Yeah, and they will just execute most of the work that they are supposed to do. Yeah, because TE basically it means like effectiveness. Yeah. So yeah, basically it comes in this way. So let's try to look at the optimistic function for the ISTJ is the SI and FI. So basically is the just trying to understand this way. So when you're a kid, you just born and everybody is giving unconditional love. Yeah, you as a baby, you have the even the breast milk, and everybody will just let you sleep, and you don't need to contribute any value for the family, and you just laugh, and everybody will be happy. Even when you cry, everybody will be happy. That kind of unconditional love. So for ISTJ, for them, if they are really trying to be immature, usually not. Like if they really neglect onto their parents' function and fear function itself, they will just really just getting into a really down state of like because I'm here, so I have all the sense to make myself comfortable, and because of my own self value and the self value in is that I just care about my own feeling. I don't care about other people's feeling. Yeah, which is really bad. But usually ISTJ, why I already say that they can't because they don't choose and they just go with experience, and usually their experiences out there are other people trying to challenge them, and that's why they will start to move on to their parents function, the T function, and trying to think more on how to make it structured and how to make it like work through. And with the NE, so they are afraid of losing other people's like a trust. They are afraid of making other people like to be neglecting their value. So that's why they are trying to control over it as well. So yeah, that's the sense for the ISTJ. ISTJ, there's a lot of people, but just for you to know, ISTJ, for them to be successful, being called as a leader, as a boss in some certain company is like a rare chance. Yeah, they will be manager. A lot of them they can be manager, but like because of their management way is much more onto like only the close relationship people instead of like trying to understand, okay, their effectiveness, their strong relationship or like anything inside it. But it's much more like, okay, I just trying to go according to my own understanding onto like a company, then they will just work in this way. Yeah. And that's like what usually what the ISTJ do. So ISTJ usually when you try to letting them to be the manager, they can do micromanagement. They do quite well. But if you're trying to ask them to do a macro management, no. Basically they will just fail you. Not because they don't want to, but it's much more like their character itself. Like they can't help, and somehow they will just face this kind of situation. Yeah. Yeah, so I think I already speak everything, yeah, about ISTJ, and yeah, next just gonna go to the end type of people. Yay. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, if you enjoy, please like and share, and try to share it to other people, and at the same time subscribe my channel. And yeah, I want to just Yeah, just let your friend know more about MBTI thingy. Oh, yeah. Maybe after this MBTI, like a 16 personality, I will just talk about a little bit about golden pair as well. Um, like I just talk about the compatibility, a compatible relationship, but with a very fast one. Yeah, onto it. Mm. Yeah, because everybody have a different way of like being loved, and I don't want to say too much onto it. And somehow it's like the credits from. I'm supposed to give credits onto like a CS Joseph more, yeah, because it's somehow like it's from him. But yeah, somehow, yeah, there's a lot of things that I want to share to our blessed families circle, since yeah, we need a lot of like content to make ourselves much more capable with knowledge. Yeah, yeah, and yeah, that's it. Yeah, hope you just enjoy. Yeah, see you.